Say my name.
Billy!
No, not my name. No, say the name that I say to turn into this guy.
Shazam!
The movie Shazam showed the rather different and unusual side of the DC universe, and fans all over the world were thrilled to see it on the big screen, even from the first real news of the whole concept becoming a movie. And today, we'll take a first look at the sequel and tell you everything we know so far, so sit back and enjoy. But before we get into today's video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe with notifications turned on. Recap. With the release of the second Shazam movie, we should learn more about Shazam's family and everything associated with them. When it came to the box office, the first film did not perform as well as other DC movies. In fact, the Shazam movie was the lowest grossing film in the DC universe at the time. However, the movie was well received by critics and fans, which were most likely the main reasons that prompted Warner Brothers to consider and eventually confirm a second sequel. While everyone is talking about Zack Snyder's universe, Shazam has been slowly but steadily creeping around the corner, climbing the ranks as soon as the sequel was announced. The confirmation of the sequel did not come as a surprise. Fans had been calling for a sequel even before the first film's credits had rolled. With that out of the way, let's move on and see what the sequel to this franchise has in store for us. Oh, and we also know the title of the sequel, Shazam! Fury of the Gods. Zachary Levi, one of the main actors, also expressed his excitement about the possibility of a sequel, saying that he's grateful to be able to bring joy to all of the fans around the world, which is one of his life's missions, and what he had been attempting to do thus far in his career. He's hoping that the sequel will pull off at least the same trick as the first. One could make a strong case that no filmmaker's career has grown faster in the last 5 years than David F. Sandberg's. The director drew a lot of attention in 2016 with the release of his excellent horror film Lights Out, and he completed work on both Annabelle Creation and Shazam within the next 3 years. He's recently signed on to direct a new scary movie titled The Culling, but his immediate future is Shazam! Fury of the Gods, as Sandberg has signed a deal to return for the sequel and will direct it as his next feature. Sandberg made it clear that Shazam! Fury of the Gods isn't an independent take on the character, but that it will eventually grow in terms of character representation and will delve deeper into Shazam's lore from the comics. He obviously did not reveal any plot details, but his comment suggests that he sees Fury of the Gods as more of a progression and continuation of the character's story than an individual approach like James Gunn's The Suicide Squad, which, while a sequel, is also a soft reboot of David Ayer's 2016 take on the infamous group of villains. The release date of Shazam 2 has yet to be determined. Many rumors about the film's release date circulated in a frenzy. Firstly, the sequel was scheduled to arrive on April 1st, 2022. This was the case prior to the film's release date being pushed back to November 4th, 2022, following the process of Warner Brothers rescheduling their upcoming releases. However, this was not the final postponement, as the sequel was pushed back to 2021. The latest date set for the film's release in UK and US cinemas is June 2, 2023. Let's hope this is the final delay for the film because we're all too eager to see it, right? Sandberg laughed and giggled about the delay, but he was serious about the filming plans, which he said would not change at all regardless of the changes in the film's release date. In terms of filming, if it hasn't already begun, the film should begin shooting at any time, so keep an eye out for any new developments. Unfortunately, we will have to wait a little longer for the trailer or teaser, possibly even until the 2022 Comic-Con, now that the film has been pushed back to 2023.
Enough games, boy. You think a pack of children can...
Wait, what?
The cast of Shazam 2. Shazam would not exist as a film if Zachary Levi's charisma and William Billy Bates's cuteness were not present, so they're both returning for the sequel. Billy's foster family, which includes Grace Fulton as Mary Bromfield, Jack Dylan Grazer as Freddy Freeman, Ian Chen as Eugene Choi, Faith Herman as Darla Dudley, and Jovan Armand as Pedro Pina, are all returning to reprise their roles from the first film. However, there is a new twist to them since they all got their superhero alter egos with their adult versions played by Adam Brody as Freddy, Michelle Borth as Mary, Ross Butler as Eugene, DJ Cortrana as Pedro, and Megan Good as Darla. Some sources claim that the actor signed a 5-picture deal for the film. As a result, we'll be seeing a lot more of them in the future, which is always a good thing. Aside from the overpowered family, Mark Strong is expected to return as the villainous Dr. Thaddeus Sivana. The bad news is that we don't know for sure if Djimon Hounsou will return as the wizard Shazam because he disintegrated after giving Billy his powers. So his return for the sequel is still up in the air. A potential cameo of Dwayne Johnson's Black Adam was circulating for a while before Zachary Levi stated that it is highly unlikely. Despite the Black Adam reference in the first film,
Guys, there's 6 of us and there's 7 thrones. Who's that for?
with the reason being that he would have a standalone movie first and then appear in a crossover movie of sorts. However, a cameo appearance by Superman himself, Henry Cavill, is still possible. So, at the very least, that's still up in the air, right? It would be fitting after his underwhelming cameo in the first film. The plot of Shazam 2. The plot of the film has been largely kept under wraps. As a result, not much is known about it, but this is bound to change soon as filming is set to begin in May. Once filming begins, this is usually the time when we begin to see and hear more about plot details. So, hopefully we'll have more to talk about in the coming months. Regrettably, this is all about the plot. On the other hand, theories have circulated about who will play the villain in the film and how things will play out when they are linked to him or her. In the post-credit scene, after Shazam and his newly superpowered family defeated Dr. Thaddeus Sivana and the 7 Deadly Sins in the first film, we see him in his cell. Here, he meets Mr. Mind, a highly intelligent caterpillar-like creature who is a major DC Comics villain. His presence is so massive and dangerous that he has his own monster society of evil, which Dr. Sivana is a regular member of. We also got the following sentence from the post-credit scene. "Oh, what fun we're going to have together. The 7 realms are about to be ours." A scene in which Mr. Mind explains the current situation of Dr. Sivana, a setting that could also serve as a setup for the sequel's plot. Of course, the 7 realms refer to the 7 magical lands. In the DC Comics, all of these are linked to the Rock of Eternity. This, along with the now established Shazam family in the DC Universe. Could the sequel delve deeper into the DC Universe? Specifically these realms? We'll have to wait and see what happens. The 7 Deadly Sins and a return to the scene are also not out of the question. As we've seen, Dr. Sivana was determined to get his hands on them, despite the fact that they were safely tucked away in the Rock of Eternity. In Billy Batson's case, after all was said and done, he has fully accepted his place in his foster family, and he can now even rely on his friend Superman to protect his brother Freddy from bullying at school. As for Zachary Levi's thoughts on the film, he appears to be interested in a movie crossover with other DC superheroes, and he might not be too far off. While a team-up movie seems unlikely in the near future, we may see some cameos in the sequel, which could pave the way for a future movie of the sort. Now, tell us in the comments which scene from the first Shazam film was your favorite. Whether it was the family collaboration or Shazam's first steps in the spotlight and why. Let us know in the comments below. Be sure to subscribe and we'll see you next time on the channel. Goodbye!